Hi guys. I don't know how much time I've got. Doesn't say. But as you know, dogs. Play a large role in my testimony. Very large role. And there's a good reason for it. Fleck has a nice postcard. Man's best friend was given to him a card with a doggy on it. I only just watched a mysterious Sesame Street episode. It's the one with the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. I wonder if I've written the number. I haven't quite put it together. She turns up. Here we go. I'm taking notes. I didn't know I was going to share this. It comes after my put out a fleece. So I did it last night. It's a mysterious lost episode of Sesame Street. It's in 1976 aired. It's episode number 847. It didn't come up anywhere in Strong's. It's been a real mystery. It's the one with the witch from The Wizard of Oz. You know, they had guests. Well, she showed up there. And mysteriously, it's been released on June 18th, 2022. So in America, that might be close to the 17th. Sorry. Yet they've been trying to look at it since 1976 when parents, I suppose it's like the little man with the glasses and the wand. The children were terrified of the witch. There was such an uproar that they pulled it on Sesame Street. Now, unlike all these mystery episodes, normally it can be found, but this one couldn't be found. I don't know, there's some geeks out there that have tried. So, we've only just got it to watch. And it happens to be on the 18th of June 2022. Funny time, isn't it? One of the YouTubers I did watch had a wee clip from The Wizard of Oz of that little green-faced witch and how she goes after the dog, Toto. Well, you know, our first dog was a Westie Cross Terrier, a Border Terrier, and looked identical to that little dog, Toto. He pulled the curtain and revealed the sorcerer. Same thing, just a male version of a witch. Now, clearly, and there's been support for the witch, who's actually apparently a very lovely lady. Over the years, that she's so kind. Well, I watched the episode and I was praying in tongues throughout it. Well, I mean, there's not much that makes me pray in tongues. It was demonic, and I feel for the children who watched it. I may have a vague memory of seeing it. I was born in 1967, and this is 1976. 10 years? I don't know. May have. So anyway, they're particularly scared about the threat that Big Bird would become a feather duster. But what I noticed was the Mexican couple that run the dairy were a wee bit peeved with the witch because she hadn't treated him with dignity and respect. Now, when I said that word before I went up the mountain to my husband 6 weeks before I left, it was like an epiphany from God. I'd had a wee nap. I tried to be amorous with him. He wasn't keen. So I said, I'll go and have a wee nap. Woke up and I was at the doorway and I said, I just wanted to be treated with dignity and respect. That's what I said. They're not words I use. Now, they're quite big words to use on Sesame Street, aren't they? Dignity and respect. That's what the little corner shop owner wanted from the witch. A please and a thank you would have really been better language. So anyway, the episode is an hour long, but I just watched the bits where the witch was in it. I've heard, since I left, Bam Bam saying dignity and respect. Have you heard it? I think when you say that word, it's like saying one way. I think it's incredible for them because it's like a heads up. Oh no, they know. Well, I didn't know that I knew, but he knew. And the reaction was an overreaction. He moved out of the bedroom. The walk-in closet was empty. And he never came back, and we never slept together before I left. And our marriage vow was on his part that he would never do that. It was very important to me to share a bed. I'm not a very liberal person. I don't like separate bedrooms, let's just say. So he broke his vows, but I still would never have left. The Lord told me to leave. Anyway, the store is called Mr. Hooper's, and this was a later version because Mr. Hooper was an old man, so this was a young couple that run it. So Big Birds had this encounter with the witch and the broom, and at the end, after we've had Oscar meet the witch, and when he meets the witch, it's quite incredible what colour she wears. It's not black. It's actually this beautiful, not beautiful, but a royal purple colour. And Oscar says in this scene, you have got to be the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Wow, I think I'm in love. Falling in love again. And you know how you have a lining inside a costume? It's a satin costume. It's this cyan electric blue colour inside. Isn't it funny? There's three connections. There's the dog, Toto. There's the dignity, respect. There's the purple. We all know heads up for purple. And then there's the switcheroo to the electric blue, which is more to do with the Lord. And they know that too. It's like that colour of gas, right? Like the colour of water. It's not really a colour. It's hard to see. You see it seldom. Wow, I think I'm in love. What a beautiful person. She's actually green and ugly. She's really mean. Really, really mean. So, Big Bird's outside saying, I'm on guard. And she turns up and she's in a different host body. She's an incredibly sweet old lady. She gets into the shop. Now, she can't take the room. They have to put it down for her to pick it up. So I suppose that's how we all feel about the V. It has to be a choice, right? Could be right, could be wrong. Public image. It could be right or it could be wrong. But either way, it's serious. Are you taking this serious? So anyway, here's some quotes. You sure came out at a crazy time. It is a crazy time. It's about the witch. Mr. Hooper says, you sure came out at a crazy time. And the witch says, just put it down, then I can pick it up myself. Down and up. Just put it down so I can put it up, pick it up myself. all I want to is to get out of here and fly back to Oz, where I belong. Pretty sure Cleck told us what Oz was. Go see those uploads. Anyway, next thing, she's on a broom. She gets it, and she's going faster, faster. Oh, so faster, faster, said twice. And then she says, oh, this is glorious, glorious. Back to Oz. And the channel's called The Time Is Now Glorious, and God's theme song is It's Glorious. So we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So you've heard of the polio. Probably the only V that worked. It's people are very, there's gratitude. Paul down the road, his little sister had it. Saved her. It's commonly known it worked. That's how they sold it, marketed it. They knew what they were doing, but it's a low blow, isn't it? Well, now there's another low blow. You've heard of parvo. I've already testified what happened when Gloria had her pups. I took hers in. I got a health checkbook. You get one with every dog. It has 15 spaces for doctors or vets' comments and the V. And then 2 months later, I took 5 pups in. Now the book's changed. Everything's the same amount of pages. But the same amount of pages, like my dictionary, now has 50 spaces. These. It's just room to put a sticker and a signature. We don't find out about your dog's health. So there's something up. And that's 2 years ago. Well, I've been in, I've asked for different books, and they know I know, and I've asked them to show me what they give my dog, and there's a flu that we don't even get in New Zealand that they've V'd for. So I don't follow the rules. But I went in because Gloria had caught kennel cough, and I thought, well, I'll just let my dog, Angel, just have the kennel cough. Well, when I left, the vet was good. She said, oh, I gave her all of them. Like, you got it free of charge. Well, up you. I didn't ask for it, but what can you do? Well, I had to take fire in to get fixed. The Lord told me to book her before my birthday, and that's 20th October. So she's in on the 17th. Now, you'll see the articles about the parvo. Is it in my testimony? Sure is. So that's why I speak about it. Now, when I was at art school, as you know, I had 2 dogs. The enemy had me. Good and proper. One was called Tash. She was a lovely border collie. But the other one was called Kali, like Shiva, CERN. K-A-L-I. She was a Rottweiler cross. My flatmate had a Rottweiler, had pups, 5. I couldn't help myself, and I picked one, which gave me a second dog. So that little dog was sleeping in my room, and Mum and the pups were just outside the kitchen. Well, Dad, a big tall drummer, from a musician, his name was Gareth, I think, good looking guy. He was walking his dog on the pavement, and it was a Rottweiler, and it came home and gave this to the pups. So parvo's on the concrete. That's a well-known fact. And this is all in the 90s. There's comments about people having come across this in the 70s. And then they got a nice V for it, which works. So there we go. It's just like the polio. But it's not parvo. It's something different. So why do we go from 15 spaces to 50? We'll just watch it happen. But what's concerning to me is that I had a dream. It was a post-apocalyptic dream, and looking at the comments, someone said something about Planet of the Apes. And that's what it felt like, because it was the Washington Memorial with Lincoln and all the steps, and there was grass growing through the cracks. And I watched Planet of the Apes religiously as a child, loved the movies, loved the series, and that's what I saw. I saw that, and I was sitting on a sort of like a concrete step watching Glory and Fire. Well, two pit bulls came out and they were on the hunt. I think there might have been three. They went past Glory and they got Fire. And it was like a nightmare, but it was from God, and I recorded it. And they had Fire, and they had her skin in their mouth, and they were pulling it up. And I woke up just before I saw the blood. So that's a wee bit concerning. But in my testimony, I kept my little pup alive. Now, I don't know where Gareth got the money from, maybe his mum. But he took all his pups in, and they all went on a drip for a week or two, which would have cost him thousands of dollars an hour. I mean, it would be $8,000 easy, but I think he probably only paid about $2 back then. And they all survived, but it is an ordeal, and it is incredible. It's just exactly what they say. Yeah, it's blood in the poo, and it's about dehydration. Like when you pinch your skin, there's no fluid. They can't hold down fluid, and they die within 2 or 3 days. Well, I don't know where I saw them. Someone gave me advice. I went down the health food store. I bought some slippery elm food, which is like a bark. It lines your stomach. Now I put that into a syringe of water and I squirted it down the dog's throat. In the end, even Tash got it. And I kept them alive, and it took quite a few weeks to do that. I missed quite a bit of art school. There was another assignment that didn't come in. It was worth it because I'm a dog lover. Now, did I get her V'd? Well, she was too young. Was the other dog V'd? Yes. So, but they were under 2 years. So, anyway, it's just a heads up for that. And the other comment I saw was about the colonial silver, which is something you can buy online and just squirt that in a syringe into their gut. But my warning is don't follow the program. You wouldn't do it. You don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for the dog. Now, when I came up this mountain, the Lord said, trust no one but me. I found that hard. Incredible, actually, that he said it. But he was exactly right. So, Big Bird, I'm on guard. You sure came at a crazy time, was said to that witch. And yeah, 17th of June 2022 is a crazy time, isn't it? It's like Loki. So the first newscast I saw on it this morning, there's a dark-skinned African man, I suppose, Black American, and he's being interviewed, I think, and guess what sort of dog he's holding? One of those huskies that seem to follow me around, Loki. And guess what the main page picture is? Rockweller puppies. Because that's what I got. Mum was a Rockweller who went for a walk on the pavement. Rockweller. 30 years ago. It was 35 years ago. It's incredible. It's incredible. But pay serious thought to anything that comes up that the Lord's already weaved into your story. Your story is before you get saved. Now, just because you're saved, yes, you're called. That don't mean you're going anywhere. Because it's a race. You've got to finish it, which means obedience, repentance, and a lot of suffering. You've got to walk in the same footsteps as the Lord. Now, I was going to keep this dog Tweed, which I named after my mum. Falling in love again. Now, I thought she was going to turn a nice silver grey, but she stayed black, and I'm thinking about it now. It means I've got 6 dogs. And I just want to finish by telling you how my mother behaved once. Now, I know the Lord has her. Now, she testified in court against me because I had driven for a red light. I was distracted. I had her in the left and 3 kids in the back, and I don't know if you've ever done anything stupid like that when you're trying to talk. My mum talked. And as I was driving through it, I realised, and I got a shock of my life, really. It was safe. Well, it wasn't safe, but no one was hurt. Got to the other side, and I heard the Lord say, that, well, it's not our time. We weren't going to get taken out in a car crash. That's not his plan. And I just knew it, and I said out loud in faith, the Lord won't let anything happen to us. So that's what Mum testified in court about me. And she inferred I was crazy because I could hear God. Well, I said I could, and I could because I'm a sheep. Anyway, years and years later, after I was married and she never showed up and she ran to Twizel, which is where I'm thinking I might not go on holiday now, where she passed away from. She went to Timaru Hospital to pass away, but my auntie passed away, and so did my Uncle Ken, and their ashes are sitting there and they're having ceremony, right? I was thinking about when I went to visit her. She didn't turn up, and we went to her place on the honeymoon and showed her the wedding photos and treated her like it never happened and sent the children there, Marty and I, because we're Christians, we forgive. We never held resentment. But there was this night I sat up with her, and she would have a few drinks, just really. And I had a few drinks with her, and I thought it was a good time to bring it up. And I said, Mum, I know that you were fooled by Joseph. Now, my first husband, told her that I wanted to put her in a rest home because she was sort of like losing her faculties in terms of getting lost in the city and the Alzheimer's was setting in. Well, I'd never seriously said that. He'd said that to turn her against me. My mum was going through trauma, working through her child abuse. Her father did some things to her till she was 16. And, it stuffs your mind up, and she was having some mental slip-ups. But that's what it was. It wasn't Alzheimer's. She was only 16. But anyway, he got her to side against me. She took my daughter Amy from school, put her in a taxi, and Amy trusted her, and she put her on a plane to leave her mummy, and my husband took the other 2 that were 4 and 5 away from me. I got them back after 6 months in court, so it's happened to me the way it happened to Claire. And I was in court for my faith, and I wasn't a nutcase. I wasn't crazy, and I was nowhere near like this. Just had a few dreams. Heard the Lord. Was a sheep, right? It was good enough for him when he married me, but he backslid. And he saw his opportunity. And his mother was Madonna. And they're after your kids, okay? So trust no one, not even your spouse. So I'm forgiving my mum. I'm saying I understand that because he told her that if she helped, he would fly the children and fly her up to see them. Because she loved her grandchildren. And more than her own daughter. I don't know. Look, I'm not judging her. I know she loved me, the Lord said. And I thought it was a good time, and it was going really well. But then suddenly I said, I might go to bed now. I stood up. She stood up in front of me. And she grabbed both sides of my head with her, and she had long nails. She grabbed the hair, and she would not let go. And she was screaming in my face about what a bad teenager I was. This is incredible. What the heck? It was like another subject because I'd said I'd forgiven her for what she had done. But it was her double down angel. She just manifested. She was an old lady, but it hurt. And I grabbed her arms, and there was a beanbag behind us, and I pulled her arms off my hair and shoved her back, and she sat in the beanbag. She had a husband that walked out just at that moment, because that's how it's always manipulated, and he saw me do it, and he doesn't know me from a bar soap. Now I'm an evil woman. I run in to see my husband. I'm on top of him, crying and weeping, and hair is falling all over his face and hands and chest from my head. He believes me, he supports me. The next morning we pack up and go. Well, I'm back there a year later. I never held resentment. But can you imagine your own mother doing that? Like physically doing that? Well, when I went through her stuff and I saw the Freemasonry pictures of her father, and I realised what she'd been through for my testimony, I was sad. But I also found photographs of the bruise on her arms from where I grabbed her arms to push her off. I was nearly taken to court, I believe, because she ran around getting sympathy for that incident. So trust no one. But that didn't happen to them. And she got to see the children after that. Now, I saw her on Christmas. She died in March on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 2018. And it came up in conversation. Fred, her husband, he's a Freemason. He brought it up. He said, as long as you don't lose it, your mother's an old lady. Like that. Mum was at the other side of the table, apparently with Alzheimer's. And she said, oh, there's two sides to that story. And Fred said, really? Because he'd only heard her side. Now, she said something that made me feel acknowledged, like she'd been through a process, like she was sorry. She was incredibly lucky to have someone like me as a daughter, but more than anything, she knew. She'd written a letter to my sister. She said, I've got the old Lisa back. When I got saved, my eyes started twinkling. See, they twinkle. And a mother knows a daughter's eyes when they start twinkling. So, get twinkly eyes, fall in love with Jesus. I watched Jesus of Nazareth, and I've been watching it for years. And yet, it's Easter, it's a pagan holiday, and it's used to play every Easter, but it was incredible to watch it as a Christian. And there's not so much of the Bible changes in it, and it's a great gospel. It's the best one. Okay? So, if you want to get close and you're busy, look at some old movies. I watched a Jeremiah movie. Just draw closer, draw nearer to the Lord. Once you know Him and you see these things afresh, it's a magnificent thing, it really is. So whatever you can do to be close to the Lord at this time, do it. And don't worry about your family, because your household will be your worst enemy. But on top of that, the Lord showed me it's also glorious. And there's glory pockets. There are family homes, but there won't be unless you put the Lord first. So as for my household, I will serve the Lord. So the apocalypse is here. It's Planet of the Apes. You might lose a dog. Is EWP attacks. You're not going to live in luxury. Oh, woe is me. Well, time is short, and with the Lord it will be glorious, because there's a miraculous future for us, and it's the beautiful when we celebrate the fall of Babylon. So prepare for it. When sheep jump